Dear students, today I'll be talking to you about a meeting between the two leaders, one from India and another from China. Both these leaders met in one conference, that is a Shanghai Cooperation, which was held in Russia. Shanghai Cooperation is a group of 8 countries created by China, and another very important country is Russia. And then there are Central Asian republics like Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan. So these group of countries, they are called the Shanghai Cooperation. India also represented there. Earlier, the defense minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, went there just a couple of days back. And now, yesterday, it was Mr. S. Jaishankar met his counterpart, the Chinese Foreign Affairs Minister Wang Li. And both of them, they had a meeting and come out with the 5 points. The 5 points agreement between Foreign Minister of India and the Foreign Minister of China. They decide to conclude confidence building measures to maintain and enhance the peace in the region. These 5 points are: the first point talks of not allowing differences to become disputes. The differences have already turned into a warlike dispute and have taken a toll of 20 Indian soldiers that we have seen in the Galwan Valley. And the second point, foreign ministers have asked the troops to continue their dialogue quickly and maintain distance and ease the tension. The third one is calls for the avoiding any action that could escalate matters when escalation is at its peak. And the fourth one is the continuation of dialogue and communication through the special representatives and the working mechanism for the consultation and coordination, which is the fourth point. And the fifth is the soothing of the confidence building measures, and this concludes the agreement. The present head of China, Mr. Xi Jinping, have styled himself a Mao Zedong too. He is having all the powers in his hand. Many see this, the border tension between India and China, as the tactical move of China to cut off the Dalt Beg oldie, which is a strip towards Siachen. Xi has chosen India as his target. After the 1945 Sino-Soviet Treaty, Chiang Kai-shek invited Mao to Chongqing, and they flew to the US ambassador Patrick Henry, and they decide to have a dialogue between the two. Just as the 1962 war with India, Mao made a prestige, and same sort of situation is there. Some people, some intellectuals from Indian side and the abroad, they say the situation is same of 1962 in the Himalayas. And some say, no, it's not the same. Now, let's discuss about this. The tension along the line of actual control is carrying on even there is the long uh, uh, the sittings, dialogues of the two nations, brigadier level talks, the general level talks, the commander level talks, they're carried on. In spite of that, there is a tension. Mr. S. Jaishankar, he visited Moscow recently, but before going there, he said, surely the most serious situation along the India-China border after 1962. And now we'll see what happened in 1962. In August 1959, after the first border clash between India and Chinese troops in Longju in the eastern sector, China said Indian troops had crossed the McMahon line and they opened the fire. The Chinese border guards fired back. And this is how the same situation is there. Just a couple of days back, after 1975, there was a firing. After 45 years, there was a firing on the border between the two countries. If we go back to the history, the Longju incident happened in 1959, and it leads to the full-scale war after some time. At that time, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, our Prime Minister, and the Defense Minister, Mr. V.K. Krishna Menon, they were absolutely certain that China will never attack India. And they were lying on the friendship of China with India. They saw both the countries as the victims of imperialism in the past. So in 1950s, Nehru continued to defend China in international fora. Our Prime Minister helped China a number of times. India accepted Chinese sovereignty over Tibet and signed an agreement with Beijing over the trade with the Tibet. McMahon Line in the east and the frontier. It is based on the 1842 Tibet-Kashmir Agreement, which we have discussed in one of the earlier lectures. The first setback to this position was the Longju incident. Within 2 months, an Indian police patrol team in Kongla Pass in Ladakh came under the Chinese attack. And it was a wake-up call for our leaders at that time. So it carried on. China rejected the proposal and they offer to reconsider the McMahon Line in the east in return for India's recognition of Chinese sovereignty over Aksai Chin. Recently, one of our leaders in the parliament said, we'll capture the Aksai Chin area. This is also one of the reasons for the tension between the two countries. India rejected the Chinese offer at that time because they thought it would mean India abandoning its legitimate claims over the Aksai Chin. After the collapse of the Nehru Chou Enlai talks in 1960 in Delhi, the tensions grows more and more. In November 1961, Nehru, the Prime Minister of India, ordered his forward policy, as part of which India set up patrol posts along the LAC, which was seen as a provocation by China. In October 1962, Mao Zedong ordered the attack. Now the same situation is there. India recently have captured some of the ranges like the Kalatop, which troubles China. And India is in a respectable, strategic, favorable position. The situation today, according to some scholars, is not exactly the same as in 1962. One is Tibet factor. At that time, the Tibet factor was lying between India and China because in 1959, Dalai Lama was given the shelter by the Indian government. And that is why at that time, Chou Enlai and later on Deng Xiaoping, they said, we will settle the accounts with the Indians when time comes. They have threatened India over the issue of Dalai Lama. And still it is carrying on. Today, both sides managed to sidetrap the Tibet question in the bilateral engagements, and how the today's situation is different because at this time India is a nuclear power. No doubt China is also a nuclear power. And on the other hand, there is another neighbor who is a very good ally of China, that is Pakistan, also a nuclear power. And India and Pakistan are also having tension. They're growing the tensions in the J&K, in the LAC. So, no doubt in 1975, after 1962, they had some issue in the eastern sector, and lot many people died at that time. So, recently, the another view is the situation is same, because even just now I have told you, we have captured the Kalatop, which is a strategic point. On the other hand, China is very close to Indian forces, finger 4 and finger 3. So both the forces are in the range of the artillery of each other. China might be having this thing in the mind. India is undergoing the threat from COVID-19, number one. Number two, India is also facing a huge economic slowdown. No doubt, entire world is facing, but India is having a much more economic slowdown. It might be in the mind of the Chinese that they will take the advantage of this. No doubt, both the foreign ministers have met each other in a very cordial atmosphere. But at the same time, after the meeting even, the Defense Minister of India had a meeting with all the defense forces heads in New Delhi. Now again, the question is same. The time will tell what will happen. The situation escalated in 1962 in the month of September, and they attacked in the month of October. They take the advantage of the weather. And many scholars are of the view China might take action of their strength in October. And many compares 1962 with 2020. But the situation is totally different. Thank you very much.